Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. I thought today I would have a nice little chat with you guys about running a small art business since it is the most commonly asked topics that many of you are curious about, and I do think that I got some things that I can share with you. So while I color in a page from my newly released spring coloring book, I just wanted to sit down today and answer some questions that you have submitted. So first, let me introduce myself for those who might not know who I am. My name's Jen, and I am the artist and human behind my small art business called Fructus Illustrations. I have been running my small business from home for about 2.5 years now, and during this time, I've created a variety of products with my art to sell, such as stickers, prints, keychains, washi tape, pins, and coloring books. Art has always been my passion for as long as that I can remember, and it was always a dream of mine since I was a child to someday become an artist. But doing art wasn't the first career that I actually pursued. After high school, I actually went on to study and graduate with a degree in systems engineering. And after that, I went on to work at a job in that field for about 2 years. And I just realized that I just could not find my place there. I really tried to do my best to make it work because I had already studied and I thought this is what I wanted to do. But every single day, I woke up with such bad anxiety before I had to go to work. And once I was at work all day, I would just sit at my desk, just waiting for the day to be over. And I felt like I literally ran out of there every single day because it was just not good for me, and I was not happy whatsoever. I realized that I had to have a very serious conversation with myself, and I decided that I had to figure out something else. And so the plan was that I was going to work for another 6 months so that I could save as much money as I could, so that I could then quit my job and give my art a shot. And that's what I did. I left my engineering job in August 2021, and then my boyfriend and I moved to Austin, and we settled ourselves here, and in October 2021 was when I began posting my art online, and it wasn't until March 2022 that I opened my shop. And that's what I've been doing, and I've been running my business since then. I took a little detour to get to where I am today, but I think that I definitely learned a lot about myself in the process, and I'm just so glad that I eventually found my way. At times, I do find myself wishing that I had started sooner or that I had gone to an art school, but what I've come to learn is that it was really important for me to try something different. For me, I think that because I did something else before I pursued art, that it gave me the push to be more determined and motivated to make what I'm doing now work. It's because I didn't want to have to go back, so I really put in my all. And the only thing that I wish is that I had taken these steps sooner. And I realized that it may seem that I already started early and when I was young, but I was already 25 when I launched my shop. To me, I felt like there were already so many people around me who knew what they wanted to do, even in high school. So I felt like I was starting over again at 25 because I was about to do things that I had never done before. But I did find it exciting, and I was very open to learning. And so the tips that I would offer to any older artist who would like to start their own business is to be open, be patient, and be ready to adapt. Making art for many of us artists is something that we've probably done for our entire lives. But running a small business to sell our art is a completely new territory. There is just so much to learn, so I would say that it's good to be receptive to that and to take in as much knowledge as possible and to go out and look for it. Running a small business is usually an effort that you'll be doing alone, so it'll be up to you by yourself to figure things out. But honestly, so many of the questions that I've had or that you'll encounter can be found through just, good old research. I'm always on Google and on YouTube looking for tutorials, guides, and really just any kind of information that I can use. You're going to also need to be patient and realize that sometimes things just take time. My first year was a little rough, and I ended up the year with 13 orders altogether. But I was just so proud of myself for every single one of those orders and so deeply appreciative of those who were able to support me at that time. Because even though it was slow, I saw that it's possible to eventually have a successful business. And all that I really needed was more time to learn and to grow. And so I stayed motivated and I kept trying different things, and soon I did see that my business was growing. And so by my second year, I had over 1,200 orders. And it was just so good to finally see my hard work begin to pay off. And at the same time that I've been working on and growing my business, I've also begun to share my journey and my experience here on YouTube with you. And it is something that I am just so glad that I actually did, because I really owe it up to YouTube and the community and the individuals that I found here who have really played a fundamental role in my growth. But with so many artists and creatives also trying to grow their businesses out there and carve out their space on the internet, how do you try to stand out from others, and how do you get your work out there and seen? I think this is a very good question to be asking, especially seeing how fickle social media and the algorithms seem to be, and also how often what's trending changes. But, I've only been posting my content online for almost 3 years now, which to some who haven't been posting at all seems like a lot, but to me it seems like nothing when I see that there are other artists who have been posting for 5, 10, 15 years. But what I've noticed is that some types of videos or content doesn't always do as well as it used to, so I feel like I'm constantly having to evolve just to keep up. So something that I've changed about my perception with sharing my art and getting it out there is that your story is what gets attention. I truly believe that people love supporting people. So by sharing your individual, unique story and personality is how you can stand out. I know it can be hard or difficult because for many of us, art is something that is already deeply personal. But when others can connect with the reason or the story behind what you're doing, then they're more likely to stay and want to see more of you and what you have to share. It's going to take some time, but honestly, it's what has worked best for me. I personally was quite intimidated and super anxious and nervous about sharing almost anything at the start, but it was something that I saw other artists, my favorite artists actually do, and I realized that I was drawn to them because I, first of all, like their art, but also because I found something to relate with them on because I got to know them. So look, being an artist while also being a small business owner has its challenges, and you'll have to develop new skills, and on occasion you'll have to do things that you don't necessarily want to do. But I still love what I do, and I wouldn't trade it for anything else in the world. I love that I have the opportunity and really the privilege to pursue my dreams, and because I have such a strong desire to keep it running, I know it's important to keep a healthy balance in my work and personal life. So this brings me to the next question of, how do you balance between content creation and all the other work that comes with being a small business owner? Well, for starters, you are going to need a routine, and you also need to set boundaries or rules for yourself. The kind of work that I do and how much time I'm actually working, it's kind of always changing, but I always try to have a base routine that keeps me on track. So for content creation specifically, I like to plan ahead as often as possible. And recently, I've begun planning out video ideas at the beginning of each month, and then at least one day every week, no matter what current projects I'm doing, will be dedicated to recording and editing short-form content. My dedicated content creation day is usually on Mondays, so that I have everything ready for the week ahead, and all I have to do is just post during the week. For YouTube, it's the same thing, but I'll spend 2 days every other week to plan, record, edit, and upload my videos. This allows me to dedicate the rest of my week to other projects and tasks, and it really works for me so that I can stay productive and I feel like I have a better balance. Okay, so at this point, I've been able to incorporate several of your questions throughout this chat. So now I want to do rapid fire questions and answers to wrap up the video. When do you plan on releasing another coloring book? The next coloring book is actually currently in the works as we speak. I've come up with a list of ideas and I'm working through it almost every single day. So I plan to have a pre-order available for either late June or early July. How do you make your art prints? Do you have a setup at home or do you use a website? I've actually been making all of my art prints at home, and I actually have a whole YouTube video on that process that you can watch, which I'll link for you down below. Do you manufacture your coloring books or print them yourself? If so, do you have any tips on what to look for in a manufacturer? I have been working with a manufacturer to produce all of my coloring books. I really cannot even imagine what printing or putting them together myself would be like. I just don't have the time, the space, or energy for that. But I am actually planning on making a whole YouTube video dedicated on my coloring book process from idea to final product. So I will share more in that video very soon. But to give a quick answer now, I would say to just look at the reviews to see what other customers have said about their work, their quality, and communication. And also ask for samples if they have them to just get an idea of what they can do for you. What do you recommend for editing videos when starting out? I've been using DaVinci Resolve, but it's unintuitive at times. I definitely feel you on that opinion with the DaVinci. I tried using it myself too because it was free, but it was just too hard to get used to. So in the beginning, I just used iMovie because it's also free if you have an Apple device, and it's super intuitive. But if you're not an Apple user, I found that CapCut is another good alternative. But I've only ever used it for short content, so I'm not sure what the experience with longer videos would be like. But yeah, I just recommend any editing software that is cheap or free, especially when starting out. And the last question is a funny but cute one, and it's, do you have all the Calico Critter family collections? So I know this question was asked because this was the photo that I used in my Instagram stories for you to send me questions. So I thought it was funny. But to answer the question, I only have the full set of the Chocolate Lab family. I also have 2 bunnies, a baby squirrel, and the brother-sisters of the Husky set. I wanted to actually start collecting these when I first saw them when I was a little kid, but they're quite expensive, so I never really asked for them, but now that I'm an adult with adult's money, I'm glad that I can finally get them for myself. It's really the small things that really matter sometimes, and I'm just very happy to be on this journey and to have you here for the ride, so thank you so much for joining me today. I'm excited to keep bringing you more of my arts and more of the insight and experience that I gain as I continue to learn and grow. I really hope that you enjoyed coloring and chatting with me today, and if you did, leave the red crayon emoji to let me know in the comments below, along with an answer to my question that I have for you. And it is, if you were a fruit, which one would you be and why? Anyways, thank you again for watching. I hope that you have a creative rest of your day and a week ahead of you, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!